Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here at the Festival of Media Latam. We are here, as you can see, the beach is behind me, the birds are humming in the trees, the palm trees are overhead. I'm with what many people in the industry have called my doppelganger, Jason Silva, who is actually going to be our headline speaker for Festival of Media tomorrow. So Jason, what brings you to the Festival of Media? What are you going to tell our audience about tomorrow?
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's really a thrill to be here in Miami Beach. You know, I actually went to college at University of Miami, so this is a thrill. So thank you for coming all the way from London and for having me here.
Well, we centered it all around you. We wanted to make sure that you had the right space, the right
Perfect
people.
backdrop, yes. So I'm very excited to talk about basically exponential change. I mean, you know, everybody knows we live in an age of disruption, especially in the media industries. People are like, oh, the rug is being pulled from underneath our feet. Change is the new normal. Disruption is the new status quo. But most people don't really know why. Like, why has disruption become what it has become? And so part of my inspiration is to sort of tell people about the nature of exponential technological advancement. You know, I'm a big fan of the futurist Ray Kurzweil, who now runs engineering at Google. And he became kind of famous for basically taking Moore's law, which is about the doubling of technological progress every 2 years, and extrapolating it and talking about the nature of exponential change. It's, in a nutshell, the reason that the cell phone in your pocket today is 1,000,000 times cheaper, 1,000,000 times smaller, and 1,000 times more powerful than what used to be a $60 million supercomputer that was half a building in size 40 years ago. So what used to be half a building now fits in your pocket. A young person with a cell phone in Africa today has better telecommunications technology than the US president had 25 years ago. So if you look at that, if you look at information technology and you apply these exponential principles, you start to see why all these business models that live on the back of these technologies are being usurped. And so that's essentially what I talk about, and I try to elucidate why that is, give people a bit of context, and then find a way of getting them to think of disruption as an opportunity for reinvention, which is what most people don't see. Most people see change as a threat, but I think change can be seen as an opportunity for reinvention, new possibilities, right? So this is in a nutshell. Not to go into too much detail, but...
No, absolutely, because it's actually tomorrow, so we want to do this as a little precursor to the event, so we don't want to give too much.
Yeah, exactly. That was just a little teaser.
Absolutely, and I love the way that that's going to relate back to media and marketing.
Exactly.
Everything's changed, like the whole rule of face-to-face marketing, the whole rule of buyers and sellers is now kind of looking more at automation and programmatic, but how you bring that creativity into that automation, they're the key elements for us.
Totally.
And I suppose with your good self, I found you obviously speaking at Cannes with our good friends PhD, who are one of those agencies that likes to kind of break the mold and do something different. How did that come about? How did you get involved with those guys?
So I've been doing quite a bit of speaking over the past 2 years. I started a web series. I do a TV show called Brain Games on National Geographic, which is about perception and misperception. But I also have a web series of videos that explore innovation, creativity, and the future. And these videos got pretty popular, so I started doing a lot of speaking at like Google, Intel, Microsoft, Adobe. All these companies were like, we like this guy's take on what's coming, because I kind of had a positive spin on exponential disruption. And so PhD had seen my stuff, and they were like, we should get this guy to do Cannes, because they wanted to have like a new approach to the future of marketing media that was less about taking notes about the short term and more about like reset. Right? Pause, reset, reboot. And so they came up with this idea of the Reboot series, and we totally killed it at Cannes Lions. Like, it was a tremendous success. And because of it, it's spun over into kind of a global tour with the folks from PhD, which is great. We're going to Dubai, we're going to Milan, we're going to London, we're going to Germany, and we just did Advertising Week this week, so it was great. And the fact that you saw me in Cannes is great too. I mean, it's all connected. One thing leads to another, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, this industry's changing all the time. We wanted to bring you and kind of open our conference, and we can see from the energy you've got here, the idea is these people, this 1,000 guests we've got, which is a record for us.
Wow.
We want to make sure that they're at least sparked up, so it's like they've done 10 shots of coffee once they've seen you.
That's pretty much the idea. I like the writer Tom Robbins very much, and he used to say that you can't manufacture imagination or wonderment, but what you can do is pull people so radically out of their comfort zones, pull them so radically out of context, that by taking them so far out of context, you force them to kind of gawk in amazement at this sort of ubiquitous everyday wonders, everyday innovations that we seem to be culturally disposed to ignore. So I guess the kind of media I'm interested in is media that helps dissolve boundaries, media that doesn't act like a narcotic to stupefy its audience, but media that encourages its audiences to think and to question, and again, to dissolve these sort of prior thought formations and mental maps that we tend to rely on that keep us from seeing new possibilities and probing new possibilities on the back of these exponential technologies. I go on these rants because I'm very excited about this stuff.
I know, I love it. And one thing that sprang to mind from that was, actually, are there brands out there that you've seen that from their ad campaigns, from their marketing campaigns, do you think, yes, they are getting there, they're moving towards what you're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a whole institution called the Singularity University, co-founded by Peter Diamandis and Ray Kurzweil with the backing of Google, which is teaching entrepreneurs about how to leverage these exponential technologies. And the fact that exponential technologies basically means that today a young group of passionate individuals can do what only governments and corporations used to be able to do. A group of young passionate individuals can create something that affects 1 billion people. And it also means that $1 billion company can come into existence in a blink of an eye, but it can also disappear just as fast.
Yes.
So basically it makes it so that we can't get too comfortable. But if you see, Google's Larry Page just started a company called Calico. California Life Extension Company was going to leverage breakthroughs in biotech and the new future of healthcare stuff to arrest the aging process. You have companies like Virgin Galactic who are going to usher in private space flight, something unfathomable just a few decades ago. This is all on the back of these exponential technologies, and I think it's only the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting you mentioned Google, because we've, as a company, have looked at Google and all the things that Google are doing, how they're operating, how they're working. And I'm actually thinking of setting up a column on our publishing arm, which is M&M Global, which actually is a Google watch. So we get the writer for the New York Times who talks about Google, literally, and it's everything that Google are doing. So we sat down with them there at the moment, looking and working on drones.
Amazing.
That are going to be used for shopping, for delivering shopping. They've taken it one stage and now they kind of go to the next stage.
Totally.
That sort of thing for us is great. And I actually think Google will be here tomorrow, so I'm sure
I hope that they will. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, good. And Virgin Galactic, do you think you'll get yourself on a flight? Would that interest you?
I hope so. I did a video on the future of space exploration directly referencing Virgin Galactic, and Richard Branson was kind enough to tweet about it and blog about it. And and then I was invited actually to give a talk on his island, which I wasn't able to make. I hope they invite me again. But yeah, I'm a big fan. I think that he's a pioneer and a maverick, and I think that's always good. People who are willing to kind of push the boundaries, probe the adjacent possible. Yeah.
So we've mentioned those two, Larry Page and obviously Richard Branson. Yeah. Are there any other kind of inspirations out there that you think, yes, these guys have got it, they've nailed it, they know what's happening?
Peter Diamandis is the co-founder of the XPRIZE Foundation, which creates these $10 million prizes to incentivize innovation. So they did the Ansari XPRIZE, which is the one that led to creating a rocket that could go to low Earth orbit and back. Wow. And the winning design of that competition led to Virgin Galactic. He's also got the Tricorder XPRIZE, which is encouraging entrepreneurs to develop a medical-sized, iPhone-sized device that can diagnose you medically better than 10 board-certified doctors. Wow. These devices have lab-on-a-chip technologies. You can pee on them, they can take your blood, and they can literally diagnose you better than a doctor, and they're handheld. Imagine what this could do, if we put that in a village in Africa. And so they create these incentivized prizes to create breakthrough innovations. Because again, it's about leveraging the hearts and minds towards these challenges and to realize that these challenges are all solvable, Yeah,
absolutely. And what kind of brought you into this line of work in the first place? Obviously,
existential angst.
Okay.
No, I mean,
trying to find the answers.
Yeah, I mean, I studied philosophy and film in college. I've always been a fan of media's capacity to inspire and to move and to communicate big ideas. And then I'm a fan of philosophy in general. So my whole thing was like, how can I marry those two things? How can I create content that helps dissolve boundaries and that helps us upgrade our minds? Just like we upgrade our iPhones every couple of months, I think our brain wetware needs to be upgraded every once in a while too, and that requires the dissolving of boundaries so that we can create new maps for what's possible. And so this is kind of a life mission for me now. It's my antidote to existential despair.
I like it. No, I like it. I'm sure Albert Camus would have had something to say about it had he still been alive now.
Oh, I'm sure he would. I'm sure he would.
And in terms of that, how do you kind of see that developing in your life? How you continue? Where do you kind of go from here? Obviously, the world tour with PhD.
Yeah, I mean, getting out there as far and wide as possible is great. I love inspiring people live. I mean, that's just a thrill. But yeah, it's interesting because these videos, these shots of awe that I make on YouTube, have really opened up relationships for me with pioneering individuals. I've become friends with Ron Howard and Brian Grazer because they love the videos. I became friends with Mark Ruffalo, who's a big fan of the videos. Leonardo DiCaprio DiCaprio has tweeted my stuff. I hope to connect with Richard Branson and people like this. You know, it's just interesting to sort of have a kind of an engineered serendipity. You know, putting these videos out into the world, it's like Terrence McKenna used to say, find the others. So the videos find like minds, and then those like minds reach out to me, and it completes the loop, and all of a sudden new doors open up. So,
how are you kind of using social media, and what are the kind of best tools that you've used, or the best advice for someone trying to grow themselves and their profile?
Sure. I think good, compelling video can always find an audience. You know, I don't think you need big marketing budgets. I mean, I get recognized on the streets for shots of awe, and I get recognized from Brain Games. But Brain Games has, you know, a multi-million-dollar corporation supporting it, and Shots of Awe is just the videos that, you know, I put on YouTube, you know, in partnership with Test Tube. But nonetheless, even low budget content, if it's good, can still reach a mass audience. You know, that's the nature of social media. It lowers the barrier to entry. It doesn't mean that anybody's going to build an audience, but I think that passion and quality will find a way to get out there. And also the price points to entry are so low. Even the drone footage now that you're seeing. People buy these $250 drones, they put a freaking GoPro on it, and they make professional looking flying tracking shots. I mean, it's never been a better time to be a content creator. And Twitter, of course, is very good. If you use Twitter intelligently, I think you can engineer serendipity based on who you follow. You know, it can curate your information diet.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And is there, I suppose we should bring it back down to the Festival of Media.
Yeah.
Besides yourself, obviously, my whole career in this job is rested on you transforming tomorrow's session.
Oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
But outside of that, are there any other speakers that you're really looking forward to seeing? We've obviously got John Lando here, obviously a big storyteller from his work on Titanic.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited to see him, actually, because I'm a big cinephile. So just when I saw that you have a guy that worked on Titanic, I'm like, that's the guy. Yeah, I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a great lineup. I'm stoked to be here.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Jason.
Hey,
it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
No
Peace. Thank you.